I think we are good to go.
Okay, ji. Awareness on a very important issue, energy efficiency and conservation. This webinar is in collaboration with NECA. It is basically NECA's initiative. In Pakistan, the idea of energy conservation and demand management has not remained popular in our energy strategies. There is also a lack of general awareness of its overall benefits. So, a very useful and timely topic to discuss. So, without wasting a time, let me invite Ms. Anusha Sherazi from NICA to start the session. Over to you, Anusha.
Thank you so much, Afia. I'll just turn on the video as well. Um, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, dear students, faculty, and management of Pakistan Institute of Development Economics, distinguished participants and technical experts from NICA, Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all to the seminar series on energy efficiency and conservation in Pakistan. Today, the focus of our discussion is around policy, innovation, and climate change mitigation. To begin the proceedings, I would start with a brief introduction for NICA. The National Energy Efficiency and Conservation Authority is an authority established under the Ministry of Energy Power Division and serves as a federal focal agency mandated for initiating, catalyzing, and coordinating all energy conservation activities in different sectors of the economy. The everyday inefficient use of energy in Pakistan at various sectors, including industry, agriculture, building, transport, and energy, puts huge pressure on the overall energy resources in the country. In addition, with the growing energy need for the increasing population of the country, it is expected that the existing energy supply to the various sectors would not be able to meet the criteria for sustainable energy use demand. For this purpose, it is imperative to streamline an effective energy efficiency and conservation framework. In the given context, NICA has organized an awareness-raising webinar on energy efficiency and conservation in Pakistan in collaboration with PIDE to highlight Pakistan's energy woes and to increase public awareness on the issue. Now I would request the National Project Manager, actually Head of the Technical Unit for National Energy Efficiency and Conservation Authority, Mr. Asad Mahmood, to start with the proceedings and introduce NICA and have a few words with us on energy efficiency and conservation.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum ji. Thank you very much, Nushe. Dear participants and eminent speakers in today's session, I welcome you on behalf of National Energy Efficiency and Conservation Authority in today's session. Specifically, the session is arranged with PIDE, and it shows the importance that how important the energy efficiency is in context of economic indicators for Pakistan as well. And there are so many avenues which we need to explore. And during our discussion, for many participants which are coming online for the first time on this specific session, I'll be just starting off with the basics that the National Energy Efficiency and Conservation Authority is working under the administrative control of Ministry of Energy Power Division. And its legislation was passed in 2016. And there are 5 sectors in which our thrust is basically going on. We are carrying out various activities in power sector, industry, agriculture, transport, and buildings. And that is not it does not limit us to only these 5 sectors, because many things are interlinked. The cross-sectoral, like we are interlinking R&D, we are interlinking climate change obligations with energy efficiency, and that's why we have set up a goal under our conservation strategy, energy efficiency conservation strategy, to reap the low hanging fruit in context of saving 3 million tons of oil equivalent by various interventions in different sectors. I just initially told you that the ongoing activities are some of the ongoing activities which are which you might be hearing about, like conversion of brick kilns to energy efficient kilns in context of climate change and smoke, where we played a vital initial role in bringing this technology from an energy efficiency perspective. Similarly, the standardization and establishment of the accredited laboratories through our various partners, and strengthening them as well, enhancing their capabilities. And directly or indirectly, there has been a job generation in context of energy efficiency. And as we say that the organic growth of energy efficiency is something which we have already witnessed in the past decade. Like one of the example is the conversion of your RGBs or CRT based monitors to LCD or LED based, and similarly technology and the retrofitting or conversion or transition from incandescent bulbs to the CFLs, and now within last 10 years, as you see the movement towards LEDs, and similarly in context of energy efficiency, we are getting more service values out now, and with minimum power rating or energy rating of various appliances which we daily use in our daily household at household levels, and at the end of the day in every sector where we are providing our services. And I think like our other speakers are also like going to share some idea on how they think like the energy intensity, what is going to be the impact of energy efficiency initiatives on the energy intensity, because on one side the present scenario is we are getting surplus in our energy like power capacity availability, and how to use it effectively. It's not only about saving of energy we aim at, but also enhancing the productivity of various industrial units and various other like in service sector and in industrial sector, in fact. And that is something which we are aiming at from the lens of Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 7, and other NDCs, in which NICA is like taking a leading role as well in the mitigation group, like redefining and revising the national determined contributions, and already approaching various international platforms to give a hand-holding, and to make sure that we are in line with what's going on at international fora. And we also like know that the academia has to play its role as well, and because under our act, special stance or provision has been kept for the R&D, research and development and pilot projects and things like that. And that's why we have supported various educational institutes as well in enhancing their capacity in context of energy efficiency. And we are still aiming at guiding different students and different faculty members. And that is how like we are like trying to pitch at international level, because our projects not only have opened the job avenues locally, but also internationally through our projects which we have won after submitting of our proposals at international level, because it's now competition-based environment everywhere. And the developing countries also have to compete at international forum. And it's not only that directly you can get the grants, you have to have the submit your proposals in such a way that they go like they are given due consideration, and it should be submitted after fulfillment of all the codal formalities and with all the stakeholders in loop. So we are making sure that the strategic collaboration goes on, and outreaching like various other public sector entities which are already with us. And this megawatt hours concept is something we are pitching right now, like the two initiatives, ongoing initiatives, which you will be like reading about or listening in the newspapers, listening in the like electronic channels about the captive power plant energy audits, which are one of the energy guzzlers. The gas shortage is coming up. So we are aiming at not only the electrical appliances, but also the thermal appliances to enhance their efficiency and to ensure the prolonging the availability of the natural resources what we have in Pakistan, and lessening the burden on our foreign reserves by importing less fossil fuel. And ultimately, it's going to be translated into GHG emission reduction at the end of the day. So like as we say that saving of 1 unit is better than generation of 3 units, even though the solar is there, it's free source of energy, but still like effective use of energy is something like behavioral aspects, resource efficiency concepts, and looking energy efficiency from different perspectives, our role of communication, role of IT, management information systems, and standardization. So that is something like we would like to unfold to start up various economic activities, and definitely, and also to boost the export sector through harmonization of standards. So I will just like to hold my horses over here, and let us give the chance to our other eminent speakers to chip their ideas. And energy efficiency being the first fuel which is not used, is the purest form of fuel which we aim at. And it has it is one of the main component over which the economic prosperity of the countries depend in terms of energy security as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Asad. So now I'm going to invite Dr. Nadeem Javed, who is the former Chief Economist at Planning Commission. Dr. Saab, are you able to hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Dr. Saab, would you like to turn on your video maybe?
Yeah, sure.
So over to you, Dr. Saab. Please carry on.
Thank you, Ms. Anusha, and thank you to Nika as well for extending this opportunity to share some thoughts on this very important topic. So as in your concept note, it's already been highlighted that Pakistan has a potential to save almost 3 months of ton oil equivalent energy. That's 10 to 15% of the total, you could say, that consumption in Pakistan. That is a lot in that context, that we can conserve or efficiently use primary and then primary energy, and as well as some power which is over there from this primary energy consumption in Pakistan. So in that context, I have three very important points to highlight, keeping in view the time paucity, as I have been given 10 minutes to speak about these issues. So in that regard, I think when it comes to the primary energy efficiency or conservation, then the transport sector plays an important role. And you would be amazed to know that once we carried out the study at the Planning Commission in the previous regime, that shows that there is a potential to improve the productivity in transport sector by to the extent that it can contribute 5% to the GDP on the horizon of 5 to 7 years. So then 5% contribution to GDP by the transport sector has a huge potential. And mainly the reasons are of two types. The first of all, we have very old buses for public transport. And you could see this in most of the cities, and particularly in Karachi, or where, I mean, yet you can find some of the buses which are even first time they came on the road even before the existence of Pakistan, and yet they are continuing to, I mean, use them on for the public transportation over there, and eventually they cause a lot of pollution. Besides, their fuel consumption is almost 2 to 3 times of what if you are going to put them or discard them and going to place a new buses instead of them. But eventually it would not be an easy solution, because those who are owners, they are earning their bread and butter out of those I mean, all activities. Government have to, I mean, give them some alternative, or at least support them to have some I mean, arrangement with the banks and some kind of subsidization on the interest rate. And besides, then we have similarly the cars, personal vehicles. If you look at in Pakistan, we have, I mean, very old cars and personal vehicles. And unfortunately, there is no inspection mechanism for normally, if you look at then in West and Europe, if you have a car older than 10 years, then every 2 years you have to go for an inspection. You have to get the certification that it's not causing the pollution that is over and above that level, which has been set for these kind of vehicles. And similarly, its fuel consumption is also up to that level, which has been the kind of a standard in that country. But unfortunately, we are lagging on both aspects. So neither we have these standards for the old buses and old vehicles, personal vehicles, and so do we don't have any kind of an inspection mechanisms. Even so, for that the CNG, which is being used in most of the I mean, personal vehicles, and those are mostly old vehicles in Pakistan. Even there is a regulation that every after 5 years, once you have installed that CNG cylinder in your personal vehicle, then after first time after 5 years, you have to go for inspection, and then every 2 years you have to go for an inspection, and that's for the I mean security aspect that it's not going to it's not going to burst, it's not going to cause any other kind of risk. But unfortunately, if you are going to ask most of your friends and colleagues and even in your family, most of the people they don't know, and they never get inspected by that relevant agency or authority in Pakistan. So these are the key aspects that which are needed, first of all, for the transport sector. As and I mentioned that it has the highest potential, keeping in view that it can contribute over the period of 5 to 7 years. Its contribution could be 5% of the GDP. And then another issue is when it comes to efficiency. Then you could see that uh, if you are traveling in the cities, then this traffic congestion and cloggings on the road are also one of the reasons that for the same commute, if you are spending 2 liters, then you have to spend at least 2.5 or 2.8 liters. And the reason being that most of the time, in the name of security or safety, if even if you could compare, in Islamabad, this Kashmir highway, you have 6-lane highway, and then eventually when you have to enter into the city, then the security guards or the police, they have barred at least 3 lines or 4 lines, and only 2 lines are possible that through which you can pass through. So now, of course, it's a security measure, but once since you have this safe city project, cameras and so many other things, then I don't know now what's the problem that uh, at that congestion point, then at least you have to wait for 7 to 12 minutes or 7 to 10 minutes. That's also causing then when it comes to energy efficiency, that's causing a lot of loss while you are standing there and simply you are moving slowly. And then another reason is that the kind of this lane management, and most of the time people got license, they are using this uh, they are driving by themselves, but eventually, if you look at then the motorbikes and some other, small vehicles, and particularly in Lahore and Karachi, these, chingchis, this are kind of a new phenomena, and it fall neither in vehicle category nor in, two-wheeler, nor in three-wheeler rickshaw, but eventually they are a good means of transportation, but eventually they are not being trained, and there is no discipline that could be created for these kind of vehicles, and then they are the traffic pacifiers. That's a kind of a term that's being used. So these traffic pacifiers are then going to slow down the whole flow of traffic on the main arteries of the cities, and eventually then going to cause delay. And with the delay, you could imagine the kind of, I mean, if, as I mentioned, that instead of 2 liters for a same day commute, if you are using 2.8 liters or 2.5 liters, then it is causing, this efficiency problem, and as well as, I mean, your transportation budget is increasing without, improving the mileage. So, I mean, these are the context, and of course, some of the areas which I'm mentioning are not going to fall within the domain of the NICA, but eventually Dr. Muslim can even highlight these aspects and can write letters to the transport authorities in these cities, and as well as to some of the security agencies, that some of the improvements by eliminating or reducing these barriers on the main arteries could improve the lives of the citizens, and besides, improving the primary energy consumption in Pakistan. So, and then when it comes to this was the first point, and then the second point is about electronic appliances in Pakistan. Now, if you could see that most of the time, if you will visit the electronic appliances store or some mega stores like Metro or Hyperstar, then you would see. So there is a lot of campaign and now advertising that's going on, that if you are going to use this air condition or this particular product, so then it's going to save you 25,000 a year, or going to save you 40,000 a year, and then it's marked on that appliance that the energy efficiency of this product is 60%, energy efficiency of this product is 40 or 30%. And then eventually those who are educated and well aware consumers, they are going to buy the products by just looking at these labels. But unfortunately, in Pakistan, there is no such agency that's going to endorse these claims. Those are over there. And there could be, these fake advertising campaigns or sales promotion campaigns. And eventually, then the lot of price premium is attached with this conservation as well. And I think that needs to be brought down by inculcating competition. So since now if only the dolans or in refrigeration particularly, and then in air conditioning, Scanwood or some higher, they are only doing this, that they are labeling some high energy efficiency equipment by highlighting that it would save you this much money a year. So why some other players in the market are not following the same practices? If there would be a kind of a competition within this industry, it will bring the prices down. So since now, then only 2 or 3 players in the market are following these standards. So then it becomes monopolistic competition to a kind of a monopoly-like situation, because they could have some cartel-like arrangement. They are going to have the collision that, okay, let's set the price for this 60% energy efficiency is being offered by this product. So why not to let's fix the price and don't compete on the pricing feature on that particular product. So, of course, now it is the job of the Competition Commission of Pakistan to look at that. But eventually, since it's not happening or at the industry contours, it's happening on few products. So then it becomes really difficult for the Competition Commission as well. So the only way is that to set a minimum standard, that no appliance could be there in the market until and unless it's not going to offer more than 30% energy efficiency, particularly in refrigeration and then air conditioning. And then some of the other, heating period is very, short in Pakistan, and normally you require it for, 2.5 months, and that's also in the northern part of Pakistan. Uh, of course, there must also be standards, but primarily I'm saying that these two industries have the highest potential and low-hanging fruit, over where some energy standards, if NICA is going to set and then going to monitor as well, then it's going to inculcate competition in this industry. And then eventually it would not be possible that few players who are going to, be the leader, then they could collide and can have some, monopoly-like situation, and then going to charge higher prices by having some tacit cartel arrangements. Then, when it comes to energy conservation, then I think is the behavioral change that matters a lot. Particularly, besides behavioral change, of course, there are some tools, and now, as you know, that developments in photonics industry are causing that now you have sensor technology, and it's quite cheap as well. So now, we have to simply guide the consumers and households. Then most of those, areas in the home, or where the light is not needed for a, long time period. Simply, if you are, as when we were studying abroad, you would have seen that in hostels there are, while you are climbing the stairs or coming down, so there is a kind of a small, red button with some light in it. You could see that, okay, that I need to press this, the light will be on for hardly 40 seconds, yeah, so that you can climb down or climb up the stairs. So just like this, and similarly then the street lights and some other kind of an areas over where if somebody is walking through that area, then the light is going to turn on automatically by having the sensors. And once there is no activity beneath those lights, so simply they turn off. And by having these arrangements, I myself am the witness. When I was at LUMS, I was the member of a greening and conservation committee over there that was headed by the vice chancellor of the LUMS. We were 6 members, and eventually we have chosen the first pilot project. Then the library was costing us a lot. It was costing, just only one library in LUMS was costing that at that time in 2010, 11, I'm talking about 11, 12. Its energy bill was around 1.4 million rupees per month. And then eventually, when the smart lighting system was put in place, and eventually it was a bit costly at that time, then we were able to reduce the bill by 40%. From 1.4 to around 8 point something, and it was roughly around 40% decrease in the only library budget. And then eventually the whole model was replicated for the 6-7 hostels of the LUMS and some other than key buildings, and then the faculty sitting area was also converted into that context. And then similarly, when I was associate dean in Karachi School of Business, we followed the same practice over there for the entire building, and we were able to reduce the electricity bill roughly around 2.2 million to around 1.5 million in KSBL by putting these smart solutions over there. So, but then eventually it also requires some behavioral change. Then you need to put some fines for those who are not sitting in their rooms for longer time period, and their air conditioning is on, their lights are on, and same. So by creating some incentive and disincentive, this behavioral change could be induced across the masses, and by educating particularly households that they can reduce their electricity bills. And since keeping in view that now the electricity prices are so high, every citizen, every household is bothered about the electricity prices. So this is a very appropriate time that by suggesting 3-4 measures at the household levels, and then so do at the some recommendations for the industry and for the commercial sector in Pakistan, then it could bring
Thank
a lot
you.
more.
Thank you so much, Nadeem sir.
So with these, I mean,
So thank you.
three key observations.
So thank you so much for the.
Yeah, I'm concluding if you let me, I mean, for 30 more seconds.
Please, kindly, please. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Sure.
So these are the three key, I think, areas and key, I mean, my observations over where there's a lot of potential, over where NICA itself, and then in collaboration with Competition Commission of Pakistan, and then with the transport authorities in Pakistan, could bring a lot of, I mean, improvement regarding energy efficiency and conservation. So I would like to thank you for your patience listening. Yes, over to you, Anusha.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Saab. Thank you so much. It was a very insightful talk, and it was very beneficial to listen to you. Our next speaker is Dr. Mariam Jalal. She is the in charge for the Department of Electronics Engineering at Fatima Jinnah Women University. Dr. Mariam, over to you. Dr. Saiba, are you able to hear me?
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saiba. Are you
Anusha,
able
can
to
you
hear
hear me?
us? Gigi, I can hear
Yes,
you.
of course.
Are you going to put
Can
up
you hear me
a...
as well? And can you see my screen as well?
We can see your screen, yes.
Okay, good. Assalamu alaikum. Myself, Dr. Mariam Jalal. I am working as head of department in electronic engineering, Fatima Jinnah Women University. And thank you so much to for Nika for inviting me for today's energy efficiency and conservation talk. I'm getting my echo back. Let me close. No, it's fine. So outline of my today's talk is basically I will be talking about how we can manage the conservation at various levels, and what are the major renewable resources, and what are some energy efficient devices, and what is the concept of energy auditing. So basically, energy conservation refers to efforts made to reduce energy conservation, energy consumption, and energy conservation can be achieved through increased energy efficiency use in conjunction with decreased energy consumption or reduced consumption from conventional energy resources. Basically, we as individuals and we as organizations can directly play a vital role for energy efficiency and conservation. So, as I said, that industries and commercial users can play vital role in energy conservation by using energy efficiently, and they can maximize their profit as well. So, what are the basically energy conservation at various levels? So, as you can see, we have energy conservation at household level. We can have energy conservation at community level. We can have energy conservation in industry and other places, and we can have energy conservation in transportation level as well. Many of the points has already been discussed by Nadeem Saab, so I am not going to, again, I'm not going in the details because he already have discussed major of the points that are related to energy conservation in the transportations and other organization and industrial setup as well. So what are like how we can manage energy conservation, how we can have energy conservation at household level. So basically at household level, we can have energy conservation in major appliances that are under our domestic use. Like we can have energy conservation in refrigerators. We can conserve energy in using our household ovens, in ironing, in washing machines, during the lighting and during the cooling as well. So what we can do basically, all unnecessary lights should be turned off, especially one conference rooms, etc. not in use. As Nadeem Saab said that we can set some standards, that we can pay some, we can like put some fines, or we have some penalty for the people who are not switching off their lights in the offices or in the conference room or in the classrooms. And then we can have computers, photocopiers, and other business equipment should be set to their energy saving mode. We can have skylights should be used for the warehouses. We should ensure that offices having ACs that have proper windows and all other door closed when the air conditioning is in use. Another thing that we can have as a good energy efficiency and conservation mechanism at Pakistan is to use the renewable energy resources. We should encourage and we should use the renewable energy resources like uh, like some initiative of the solar panels and some biogases. We can use solar energy for cooking and heating should be promoted. Some projects should be conducted that involves wind energy for the community, and municipal needs should be demonstrated to the whole community. So use of energy and renewable energy resources should demonstrate at the biogas programs. That is also required to tell people for the efficient use of it. And here in this slide, you can see that we have some major energy, renewable energy resources that we have solar energy. We can use solar energy. We can use wind energy, hydro energy, biomass energy, geothermal energy, and biofuel energy. So as this slide has already been discussed that how we can conserve energy at community level. We should not use the elevators at the peak hour level. As we know that when we receive the electricity bills, it has specifically mentioned the peak hours and non-peak hours. So we should use the high elevated devices only in the non-peak hours. We can install some photoelectric controls or timers that could be the switch on the high consuming electronic devices, and they can work at the non-peak hours. So we can think to develop some locally manufactured improved cooking stove that should be used to reduce the charcoal consumption. That is, we can see the charcoal consumption is very much higher in the villages of the Pakistan. And another approach in industry that is already in place, but we need to get more focused on it. That is, we can have some energy auditing of the organizations and universities, industries, and we can modify the process, energy efficiency process, and we can introduce some more process that can enhance the energy efficiency and conservation. We can have improved measuring instruments. We can improve the efficiency of the measuring instrument. We can reduce the energy load and lightning load reduction. Then it's come about the fuel consumption. As Nadeem have already talked a lot about the transportation. So this slide is about how we can reduce the fuel consumption. The car speed should be maintained as far as possible, 50 to 60 kilometer per hour. We should avoid frequent starts and stop to reduce the fuel energy. And we also apply brakes gradually as far as possible to reduce the energy consumption. So here it conclude about the moderate driving at low speeds, turning off a vehicle engine at stops rather than idling and using cruise control can definitely reduce the energy consumption at the transportation sector. As I already talked about that we should introduce some energy auditing mechanism is a systematic approach to monitor the industrial energy consumption and to find out the sources of energy waste as well. And we can design and improve the power plants design so that we can have some co-generation and capacitive power plants. And our engineering consultation services encompasses design and engineering of the co-generation and captive power plants. So this is about how we can improve the our design of the power plant so that we can have some better energy efficiency and some conservation as well. So in this is what we can how we can have energy conservation in electrical motors. We can have good motor efficiency. We can have watt losses. We can reduce the friction and windage losses. And this slide is about that. So finally, how we can reduce the energy conservation in electrical motors? The only way is by supplying proper voltage and running the motor on proper load. The efficiency of the motor can be increased. So advantages, as we have discussed in detail, that energy conservation can result in increased financial capital, environmental quality, national security, personal security, and human comfort. Energy efficiency definitely saves money. It is environment friendly. It improves indoor air quality, and definitely it provides longer lifespan to appliances. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mariam. It was very nice to listen to your talk. And there was a lot of relevant information, which is also concerning Nika at this point as well. Now I'll hand over the mic to our last speaker. He's the National Project Manager for Nika on a project for energy efficient lighting, Mr. Ahmed Hussain.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. I'm really grateful to Ms. Anusha for inviting me to speak. This is a very important subject, and energy conservation and efficiency. These two are very important subjects for us in Pakistan. If you think about it, we have been, not only us in Pakistan, but across the world, people have been using the natural resources very unmindfully, very wastefully. It's just the mindful consumption of the natural resources that is now, we have realized that is needed, because we have to leave a good legacy for the generations to come, and for a brighter future for ourselves and for our coming generations. If you think about it, you talk about anything, whatever comes through nature, be it water, be it, you name it. I mean, people lack this ability of being mindful users of these things. So yes, there are two things that we are working on. One is the conservation. Of course, that's an important part. Why? And the other one is creating efficiencies, because we have already installed systems which have been guzzling energy like anything. So that means we have to work on the two frontiers, not only creating conservations, but also efficiencies in the existing systems. I am working on a lighting project, which is more about creating efficiency in the existing lighting system. Of course, Dr. Nadeem just mentioned that there are no consumer, let's say, committees which can monitor or verify, let alone endorsing these things. Of course, these smart sellers, they promote their products in the market as being very energy efficient, and of course they charge premium prices for them. We in the lighting, I would not claim that there were no standards existing in Pakistan before this. Previously there were standards, but we have proposed new minimum energy performance standards to the PSQCA, the Pakistan Standards and Quality Control Authority, to be enacted, which I believe have been accepted by PSQCA and will be notified soon, within this month perhaps. That would mean that now there is a central agency which is responsible for making these standards, and we will also, through this, the mandate of this authority, ensure that these are adhered to and that these standards are followed. That would mean two things. Number one, a minimum standard would have been set for the products that are being marketed in Pakistan, that are being sold here. Number two, the consumers will definitely get the value for the money that they are spending to buy a product. I mean, what Dr. Saab just mentioned was that it's more of a, people are just duping people by charging them premium prices, but not selling what the price calls for. So that means it was kind of a fleecing practice that was going on, but we are also putting this monitoring, verification and enforcement regime into place, because as was mentioned earlier in one of the presentations, endorsements will be required. That means that we have to register the people who are the sellers, and they have to follow certain standards, and they have to declare what kind of products that they are bringing in. Now, you can imagine that a lot of government agencies will be involved, like the Pakistan Customs, the FBR, and even the PRAL, which is one of the wings of FBR. And then, of course, once you enforce these things, also grievances may also arise. So that means we'll also have to have tribunals, energy tribunals in place, so that nobody feels that he has been wronged. All while developing these minimum energy performance standards, the most important step that NECA took was they involved all the stakeholders, especially from the market, so that everybody knows that what are they supposed to do and what is the government expecting from them. So it's a two-way strategy that is in place, and I'm very happy to report that this has been done. And why this project was put in place in the first instance was because eventually the conservation and efficiency that leads to, as Dr. Mariam just said, it's environmental friendly. The objective of the project is to create efficiency in such a manner that less fossil fuels are consumed for production of electricity. 15%, the UN consensus says that 15% of the energy is consumed by lighting only. So lighting, as Mr. Asad also mentioned, is the lowest hanging fruit, but it's not so low hanging because you can understand that we have good 200 million people using lighting. So the message has to go across. And well, this is a good effort being done by NECA to put the message across to people that this is what is required now. We have to do it. So that means we are working in various segments, we are also working on the building codes, which conserve energy and or taking into consideration lighting also. We are working on this, making proposals with this for this Naya Pakistan housing scheme, wherein the efficient lighting goes, and things like those. That means we are working on many aspects, and some of which have been covered by not only Dr. Nadeem but also by Dr. Mariam. So I'm really very thankful for all of you to participate and to come at least to have this concept of conservation, and then they're contributing into positively into the economy of our country. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Hussain Saab. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the very a mind-opening talk about energy efficiency and conservation by our experts on the panel. The house is now open for the questions. If somebody wants to ask a question, please unmute yourself and ask the question, please. And please also identify who would you like to ask the question.
It would be better if you use hand raise option to ask your question. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely.
एक comment, if there are no questions, like there are some comments from Mr. Mohammad Afzal Khan as well, जिन्होंने point out किया है solar energy potential को आगे demand and supply of ताकि डिमांड एंड सप्लाई ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी जो है उसको फोकस किया जा सके. जिस तरह I just pointed out in my session that although we are getting surplus in terms of energy capacity available over here, but it does not mean that we should stop going towards renewables. Definitely, it's the cleanest and now one of the cheapest source of energy as well. But like mostly we are focusing on the behavioral aspects, and it's the flip side of energy efficiency, solar and other getting into hybrid mod or backup supplies for electricity, because solar is not there throughout the day. Then you have battery storage systems. Another aspect of energy efficiency have to be addressed, which batteries are efficient, and then the energy management systems have to be brought in place. Similarly, wind is intermittent source of energy, not available throughout the year. So still like they can augment, they can never become the give you the base load. They are giving in many countries, they can give us, but keeping in view our infrastructure over here, the grid protocols and how the power system sector is being managed. So keeping that thing reality in view, like we definitely have to go with a proper balanced approach, and the main thrust should be on the behavioral aspect, be it be solar, be it be any source of energy at the end of the day.
Thank you so much, Asad. I think we are.
Not done.
Are we done? Afia, are you there?
Madam, Mr. Adnan want to ask a question. He has used hand raise option.
Okay, go ahead.
Please. I could not see the hand raise option, so maybe you can moderate this session if you would like.
Assalamu alaikum.
Ji, Assalamu
I'm
alaikum.
Adnan here. I'm a student of Economic and Finance in PIDE. मेरा क्वेश्चन नदीम साहब से है कि हमारे पास रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटीज़ हैं, एक्साइज एंड टैक्सेशन है, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन अथॉरिटीज़ हैं, और तो वो क्यों रूल्स को यानी कि जो गाड़ियाँ जो पुरानी चल रही हैं रोड से नहीं हटाते, क्यों वो इनएफिशिएंटली काम कर रहे हैं, और क्यों ताकि वो हम इसके ज़रिए एनर्जी को इम्प्रूव कर सकें. तो सर, could you answer please?
ठीक है. Nadeem sir, would you like to please? Dr. Sahab, can you please unmute yourself? We cannot hear you.
Is it okay now? Yes.
Yes, please.
So regarding Adnan's question, I would like to highlight that, of course, these bodies are there, but unfortunately, compliance is an issue. So if there are certain regulations, those are not being complied. And secondly, of course, there is another issue that most of the time you don't have any, concrete regulations for some of these kind of possibilities, or where you can simply force them to discard those buses or those vehicles. But it's quite unfortunate, and until there is not any kind of organized movement from NICA or from citizens, it would not be possible. Ji, over to you, Anusha.
I would also like to
Mr. Khalid Parvez want to ask a question.
Yes, this is Khalid Parvez here from Alavas Textile Mill. I am here manager power and utility. I am looking here. So my question is this: for
despite
industrial,
the legislation about the motor vehicle examination, which is there in place, but still that was not implemented in full spirit. The main point, the Punjab BICS vehicle inspection and certification system was also initiated. The 33 centers were established. across Pakistan, and that was like one of the area where sometimes the legislations are there, sometimes the organizations become operational. It's also something related to the government priorities, like how to give set the business trend, and that's how like we
Hello.
vehicle inspection certification systems. So that is something like the allocation of budgets to keep the good initiatives sustaining. That's also the key where we need to sensitize the P&D departments and other provincial policy makers and decision makers to understand the importance of sustaining the important initiatives which are directly related to the common household, and not for their future, for their safety, for the roadworthiness, keeping the infrastructure safe, secure, and because to avoid the recurring cost of on the construction and operations of the roads. And so there are so many other aspects which needs to be looked at, and opening this platform for the private sector to come in where their role is. Although under the Punjab BICS system, the private sector was given an opportunity, but again, public-private partnerships have to be sustained. And similarly, NICO also, like again, thinking to have the tune-up centers established through bankable financing schemes, leasing schemes, where instrumented tune-up of vehicles is one of the area which we have implemented in the past. And similarly, we also aim it to continue with the trainings of the roadside mechanics, auto electricians, and to get them equipped with the latest hybrid mod of vehicles. And then similarly the EVs, the other stuff in hot thing in town. So we are also like trying to focus on that aspect in terms of the role which has been defined for the NICA in the EV policy. So we are working with NEPRA on that for setting the tariff, and hopefully you will see the hearing coming up from their side, and we'll together like address all these future aspects of transport related concerns as well, bringing standardization and making the things commercially viable for the private sector as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asad. Dr. Mariam, do you have any final words to add to the discussion?
Thank you so much for arranging this session.
Dr. Saiba, we can, your voice is bouncing back, so if maybe you can just mute one of your speakers.
Click on the participants.
Dr. Mariam, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Please carry on.
Exactly. So I just want to pay thanks for Nika and all other honorable participants and the speakers. It was really a nice session, and that created awareness. And I would like to appreciate my students as well who have attended this session. And I hope that we have been able to create some awareness in the students as well, so that they can be well aware how they can be a good participant for energy conservation, and how they can use their resources at university and at home as being a good energy efficient users. Yes, there is a question. They're asking some question. I can see some questions in the chat box.
Okay, we have a question from Mr. Khalid Pervez. Khalid Pervez, would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question, please?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, ma'am, this is Khalid Parvez from Alav's Textile Mills. I am looking here captive power plant. My question is this: have you any plan for energy audit for industrial purpose, something special or customized scope? Have you deal something like that?
Thank you, Khalid Saab. Asad will answer your question kindly.
Ji, Khalid Saab, thank you very much for asking this very good, important question. I just like mentioned in my talk earlier that one of the ongoing initiative जो अभी जिस पे focus किया जा रहा है as per the cabinet committee on energy decision वो captive power plant की energy audits and assessments through engineering consulting firms. So already on one side we have like written to all the industries to respond to us and submit the information as we have requested through our performer. And similarly जो है दूसरी साइड पे हमारा जो procurement process है individual and consulting firms को on board लेकर आने का, तो that's also like at advanced stage. And besides that, we have been like conducting the energy audits on cost sharing basis, or there are the donor agencies we join वो free of cost assessments audits लेके चलें. लेकिन under the act, it's not only about again conservation. We have to settle certain benchmarks. So just like for instance, you have your textile unit, Lavasaya Textile Industries, or if it is a spinning unit. So our benchmarks and norms would also are also later on going to be focusing on kilowatt hour per kg of fabric या आपका कितना जो भी end unit product निकलता है तो उसके benchmarks पे we have to focus as well. But right now in terms of captive power units, the benchmarks have already been given by the Cabinet Committee on Energy, and we are having daily interaction with 2 to 3 organizations online to and sensitizing them and bringing them bringing the uniformity in the reporting structure, because जो IPPs हैं आपके वो हीट रेट्स और उनसे तो ज़रा बखूबी वाकिफ़ हैं और इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन के मुताबिक जो हैं वो अपनी वर्किंग कर रहे हैं और एसमे और जितने भी NC के कोड्स हैं उनको भी समझते हैं बाकायदा. लेकिन जो आपके CPPs हैं इनमें बेशुमार ऐसे हैं जो कि सिर्फ वॉल्यूमेट्रिक बेसिस पे एफिशिएंसी बेंचमार्क या प्राइस की बेसिस पे बेंचमार्क्स देख रहे होते हैं. ओवरऑल एफिशिएंसी ऑफ द जनसेट को उस तरह फोकस नहीं करते. But definitely pricing is also one of the indicator which gives the figure that how much meter cube of gas you are consuming to get the 1 unit of 1 unit generated. So that is something like on keeping that thing in view, हमने एक parallel train the trainer program भी launch किया हुआ है जिसकी last date 9th December तक है. जो participants जो criteria पे पूरा उतरते हैं, you being the technical person, you see the eligibility criteria and please ये हमारे website जैसे ही आप जाएंगे www.nika.gov.pk, so immediately on the pop-up window you will see the trainer program. You can go there and have a look at the criteria and please fulfill it and submit your form today if you want to like be part of that train the trainers program or for under the national certification scheme for energy auditors and managers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asad, and thank you all the speakers for joining us, and thank you all the participants and energy experts and experts from all the concerning fields. So now we are finished with the time limit that we had for the webinar. I would hand over the mic to Afia. Afia, would you like to take over from here? Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Anusha, and thank you, Nika, and all the speakers. It was very informative session. No doubt there are regulations, as said by many speakers. There is a need for strict implementation. Okay, now thank you to all the participants, and looking forward to more such collaborations with Nika. Okay, thank you so much, Ji, and Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.